Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our book launch event. My name is Satyam Raj, and I'm delighted to be your host today on behalf of Adin Books. I hope you are enjoying discovering new authors and their compelling stories. Please share your thoughts in the comment section. So, today we are discussing a particularly relevant book for our times Demoncracy, that is, Prajaprabhut versus Destiny's Child. Let me take you to the book, the basic idea behind it. So, Demoncracy, Prajaprabhut versus Destiny's Child by Miss Nandini Harsha is a gripping political satire woven around the extraordinary journey of Hari, a boy born into deep poverty in a small Indian village, raised by parents who toil at a local politician's house. Hari grows up with single dream to provide free medical care to people of his village who suffer silently without access to treatment. His path takes time across borders, through medical school, marriage, and a life built on sacrifice, all aimed at fulfilling this promise. But But as Hari moves closer to his mission, he is unexpectedly pulled into the murky world of politics. What begins as an act of service evolves into a fierce confrontation with corruption, greed, power struggles, and a complacent uh, electorate trapped in a cycles of complaint and resignation. Through razor sharp wit and bold storytelling, the book exposes the fractures in democracy, the blurred line between right and wrong, the hypocrisy embedded in political system, and the chaos of season freebie culture. It challenges both the corrupt and the complicit to face the consequences of their choices. This hard-hitting satire forces readers to rethink the meaning of democracy today. Will the system reform or collapse under its own weight? This book is a thought provoking reflection on power, responsibility, and the destiny of a nation caught between hope and ruin. Now, let's welcome our author. She will project more of her ideas and wit into this book and give us an enlightenment about this major idea. So let's welcome her. Hello, ma'am.
Good morning.
How are you?
All good. How are you all doing?
Ma'am, I'm good as well. So, ma'am, how are you feeling about the book launch event?
I'm excited. Mm.
Right. So let's let
Because,
let's hmm,
yeah, tell me.
because we want your idea and your perspective onto the book. How this book is going to create an impact and the themes and the basic idea that you had that you wanted to share to the world throughout this book. The book says loud than anything else. There's nothing more powerful than something that's written, that's documented. So yes, ma'am, please enlighten us with your thoughts about it.
As the title of the book says, Democracy, Prajaprabhut versus Destiny's Child. You will wonder what is that. Of course, when you say democracy, it's politics. Then what is this Destiny's Child? How can these two be together? Why I did this was not everybody is interested in reading political books. So I gave it a family drama. So I take two stories hand in hand till the end to give it a better impact. since I'm a senior citizen and I've voted in so many elections, and what I've seen, it was on my head for a very long time. So I thought I'll put it on the book. Now the reviews are telling not everybody can read a book. Not
Right.
everybody can read English. I've got excellent reviews. Even some army officers have written to me. So the best way to convey this message to the society is you have to do a pan India movie. Anyway, I'm already in talks with some producers. Let's see how it goes.
So definitely, ma'am, I'll be keen on to getting this book published basically onto the pan India level so that it conveys your message and it gets the message basically gets delivered clearly to the major audience that's not even literate, so even they can also grasp what you are trying to convey, how serious of a matter is it.
Many libraries have already asked me for copies, and I've sent out copies. And to some libraries in North India, I've sent the link for them to order and have it. And I even thought in the first book, the message was not as strong as I wanted it. So I've already written a sequel, and it is with Adyan Books. Very soon, even that will be published.
Sure, ma'am. I hope it succeeds into its deliverance of the message and it gets picked up in the youth as well. Like the youth also gets acknowledged and enlightened by your thoughts and how we should uh, keep on with the politics as well, keeping everything aside. So let's start with the questions, ma'am.
Okay.
There are a few questions that I would like you to provide some insights on it. So let's start with the first question, ma'am, right away. So, how effectively does the book depict the socio-economic challenges faced by the rural villages like Mithapalli?
The book effectively depicts the socio-economic challenges faced by rural setting like Mittapalli, highlighting issues like poverty, poor healthcare, and limited education. Where in that village, everybody goes to school only because they get a free meal, not because of education. And at some point, when the children are a little older, they drop out of school only to help the family with some odd jobs to get in more finances into the family. And girls, once they reach puberty, they're all dropped. And because there is free mass marriage happening every year in, in that village temple. So the education system, poverty, healthcare, everything is at the hopeless possible condition. The story showcases how these challenges affect daily life for the villagers, forcing difficult choices such as dropping out of schools and medical care. There is so bad that if you were ill after 6 p.m., you have to if you have to go out of the village to a town to get medical care, either you reach or you come back as a dead. So that's when Hari, the hero of this book, while growing up, all these have strong impacts on his mind, and he concentrates on his education to make sure he makes a difference to his village. So this depiction is so poignant and relatable to every villager in India, I'm sure.
Definitely. So let's head to the second question, ma'am. What role does the protagonist, Hari's personal journey, play in highlighting broader community issues?
Hari's journey serves as a powerful narrative tool to highlight community issues. His rise from a village boy to a successful doctor showcases the impact of education and determination in him and in his parents. His struggles and sacrifices underscore the broader challenges faced by the community, making his story both inspiring and thought provoking.
So let's head to the next question. Uh, how well does this book balance storytelling and the socio political critique concerning poverty and governance.
As I told you, I consciously picked two different topics: family drama to tell about politics. So, even here, the book strikes a balance between storytelling and socio political critique, weaving in themes of poverty and governance through Hari's experiences in his village as a child, all that he observes and wants to bring in a change. The narrative doesn't feel peachy or heavy headed at all. Instead, using the story to illustrate the complexities of these issues. That is why I've even kept the story a light reading, not using, big words, or even if somebody who's not interested in reading a book because they might not understand can pick this and read it as a light reading.
Right. So let's head to our next question now. In what ways does the narrative address the impact on caste and social inequality on the villagers' lives?
The narrative touches on caste and social inequality through Hari's friendships and interaction with villagers. He sees that some particular caste community children are allowed to go to better schools and colleges because of reservations. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just telling how, even in a village, this socio economic situation has an impact on school going children. The narrative doesn't feel heavy even while putting this point across. The story highlights how these factors influence access to education, healthcare, economic opportunities, perpetuating cycles of poverty. They get jobs easily, and if you have influence, you go into better schools. But Hari, through his eyes, makes us understand all this.
Right. So, my next question is how are themes of education and its role in breaking the cycle of poverty explored through the characters?
Education is portrayed as a key factor in breaking the cycle of poverty, with Hari's academic success serving as a testament to its transformative power, and his parents, even though their domestic help, realizing that if there has to be a change in the village for them and to other families, it has to be only through education. So they sacrifice their everything to make sure Hari does not drop out of school. The story highlights the challenges faced by students in rural areas, such as lack of resources and support, how education can provide opportunities for social mobility.
So, my next question, ma'am, is does the representation of healthcare infrastructure and experience in Mithapalli realistically convey rural medical challenges?
In Mittapalli, there is a clinic which is for namesake. The doctor does not come there every day. I have depicted all this. Does not come there every day. On the days if he come, the days comes, if you are ill, you are lucky to be treated. Even when the patients go to him and they narrate their symptoms, he's all the time on the phone. He couldn't be bothered because he's a government doctor. So he doesn't care whether you're treated, you are okay, you're not okay. Okay, there is a limit to what we can do here. Go to the next town. So the book realistically portrays the inadequate healthcare infrastructure in rural areas, highlighting the struggles faced by villagers in accessing medical care. The story showcases the consequences of delayed or inadequate treatment, emphasizing the need for improved healthcare services. That is why, at every step, Hari thinks his end goal is, I want to become a doctor, come back to this village and give them free medical health. Because when he was in school, one of his classmates, Shrikant, at the age of 9 or 10, will die because he did not get medical care at the right time. So that also has a lot of impact on him to choose to be a doctor.
Right. Let's head to the next question as well, ma'am. So, how does the depiction of political corruption and electoral handouts contribute to the story's message?
The depiction of political corruption and electoral handout highlights the ways in which politicians exploit and manipulate the system, perpetuating inequality, hindering development. This depiction adds depth to the story's message about the need for social change and accountability. What I mean by this is every candidate, every party give out handouts and freebies only because they want to be elected. And they give, and they're very generous in making false promises, which they do not want to keep after being elected. So, when at a later date, when Hari is pushed into politics, when he prepares his manifesto, he remembers all this and tries not to make these mistakes. And when elections are there every 5 years, if there is a re election, the villagers are happy because again they'll get freebies, again they'll get handouts. And the villagers, as a joke, would call them lotteries. And every time his parents brought home lotteries, he used to feel miserable. But then he also realized that was the need of the hour. They need it because they're so poor. And it's the same story with every household in that.
Right. Then let's head to the next question. What cultural or traditional elements like mass weddings, Shastra, are used to enrich the setting and how effectively?
The book incorporates cultural elements like mass weddings, Vastu Shastra, and traditional practices which add authenticity to the narrative. These elements help to create a vivid and immersive setting showcasing the rich cultural heritage of rural India. For example, the politician, Mr. Reddy, was an MP, and Hari's parents worked in their house. And his house was a mansion with high walls. Nobody in the village knew what was beyond the walls. But all they knew was from time to time, the gate used to change its position. That's when all these, what do you say, gurus from neighboring villages or towns or cities would come and tell him, if you move your gate from this northeast to southwest, you'll have better opportunities in elections, you can make more money, things like that. And about mass marriages, there's a temple, and that's like a meeting place for all the villagers. And every year there is mass free marriage happening in the village. All these are small elements which are not new to any village. When people read the story, and if he is from a village or he has connection with the village, he can relate to it very well.
So, the next question, ma'am, is how does the book explore gender roles and expectations, particularly concerning women and girls in the village?
The book touches on gender roles and expectations, highlighting the challenges faced by women and girls in rural areas, such as limited access to education and early marriage. The story showcases the struggles of female characters like Suma, Hari's childhood friend, and their resilience in the face of adversity. Like I told you, his best friend Suma, when she reaches puberty, the parents think, oh, now it's a responsibility of her husband who has to take care of her. So we are off one more mouth to feed at home. So all the girls who are of age, their parents will be waiting for that annual free mass marriage in the temple. Because once they are married and sent off, they think now it's their husband who will take care of them.
Right. Uh, the next question, ma'am, is how is the contrast between rural stagnation and the outside world's progress portrayed, and what effect does this have on the narrative?
The contrast between rural stagnation and the outside world progress is portrayed through Hari's experience in the city, highlighting the disparities in infrastructure, opportunities, and lifestyle. This contrast adds depth to the narrative, emphasizing the need for rural development and social change. When he has to go to for PUC, because in his village, the school was only up to 10th standard. When he goes there, he realizes there's a vast difference between life in village, be it talking in English or the way they greet people, how to socialize, and how educated farmers in other villages make use of technology and grow better crops, whereas his village, he feels very sad that they are still in poverty, still borrowing money, still using old, obsolete techniques to do farming.
So the question is chapter 11, question 11, which was, to what extent do supporting characters contribute to deepening the understanding of village dynamics?
Supporting characters like Hari's parents, his childhood classmate Suma, and Dr. Ravikant add depth and nuance to the narrative, showcasing the complexities of village dynamics and challenges faced by its residents. Every time his parents, even though insulted by Mrs. Reddy, where they were working, they never mentioned it to Hari because they wanted him to concentrate only on education, come back to the village and make a difference to every villager there. And Suma, whenever Hari felt low, even though she herself didn't have a wonderful life, she would always tell, we will make it together. Don't worry, we will be fine. So I think, and this Dr. Ravikant, he will come at a later stage when Hari joins medical college. And on and off campus, he grooms Hari to be what Hari became.
So, how clear and impactful is the emotional tone, particularly regarding hope, despair, resilience, and determination?
Emotion plays very big role in this whole story because of the family drama I've taken hand in hand till the end of the book. The emotional tone is clear and impactful, effectively conveying the struggles and triumphs of characters. Each character, I'm not just telling only Hari's, even the people around him, maybe his parents, his neighbors, his classmates, and his tutors, everybody were highly emotional, and whenever he was low emotionally, how they all have supported. The story also balances hope, despair, showcasing the resilience and determination of the villagers in the face of adversity. Like they had accepted, okay, we can't expect more than this. This is our life. Whenever there are elections, okay, let's take the gifts or whatever you call them and be happy for those few months and then go back to borrowing money and slogging in the fields in the heat. But they were kind of contented. They would be happy to get more, but how? Nobody knew how and when.
My next question is, ma'am, does the book maintain a coherent narrative flow balancing descriptive detail and a plot progression?
The book very well maintains a coherent narrative flow, balancing descriptive detail and plot progression effectively. The story is engaging and easy to follow with a clear structure that keeps the reader invested in Hari's journey. I told you why I've taken the family drama. Because from after reading the title, you'll wonder what has democracy got to do with this? Because the first few chapters are all about Hari. We have to know why Hari feels so bitter about the election. So it slowly builds politics into Hari's life. And then I give the message I have to give to the society.
So, the next question I would like to ask is, what elements of spirituality or cultural wisdom are integrated, and how do they complement the book's theme?
The book integrates elements of spirituality and cultural wisdom, such as importance of community respect for elders and the power of education. These elements complement the book's themes, adding depth and richness to the narrative because uh, as I told you, I wanted a stronger ending to this book, so I've also written the sequel. So, first book is very religious. Second book, he becomes spiritual. where he understands whatever is happening to me, good, bad, ugly, it's all because of the choices I made and the wrong priority list I had in my life. So he gets very spiritual there. At the same time, he does not lose his focus on community. Because even when he gets elected as an MLA, he takes oath in the name of my people of Mitrapalli. So his community meant a lot to him.
Right. So the last question for the day is, how can the book's message about social change and empowerment inspire the intended audience? And is this conveyed convincingly?
The book's message about social change and empowerment is conveyed convincingly, inspiring the intended audience to reflect on the challenges facing by rural community and the importance of education and social change. The story is powerful testament to the resilience and determination of the human spirit. Since you're telling this is the last question, I want to close it like I have closed the first book. He'll be utterly disappointed with what happens to him politically. I will not give out too much of it because I want people to read this book and experience it. So, when people, that is his close people, Suma and Dr. Ravikant and his uncle, aunt, all come looking for him, he tells them, if you don't like to see me as I am, a torn up human being, my spirits are shattered, just answer one question. Is it a vicious cycle that the electorate is insensitive because the politicians are corrupt and the system is broken? Or is the system is broken because the electorate is insensitive and the politicians are corrupt? Or are the politicians corrupt because the electorate is pushing the politicians to become corrupt? So, where is the demon in the democracy, or where is the booth in the Prajaprabhut? So, the message is, when we vote next time and we look for false promises, we want freebies, please think of development and always put nation before self. Then we can build a better system.
Right. Sure. So now we are done with the questions, and it was a very fruitful session with ma'am, and we got enlightened throughout about the dynamics that's less spoken of in the contemporary world. Like nowadays, you don't uh, bother much about the village, living in the city jungle, but the topic that ma'am uh, frankly spoke about is what we should take in the consideration. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining
One
us.
last word, Satyam. Like I told you, I didn't write this book for publicity. I didn't write this book to make money. Even if one voter changes his mind after reading this book, I'm happy about my life.
Sure. Sure, ma'am. It definitely will make a big change into the mind of viewers. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us and for this
Thank you,
enlightenment.
Adhyana. Thank you, Satyam.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Goodbye. So this was the session. This was it from our end. This was a very enlightening and beautiful session uh, by ma'am. And now, thank you, everyone. Thank you for being with us this afternoon, uh, this morning. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more author interviews and book discussions. Dhanyavad.